Why does she want you to bang her all the time? And why sometimes she absolutely does not? Have you ever noticed that your woman seems completely on fire for you one week and then ice cold the next? That one evening she is reaching for you and pulling you close, and then a few days later she seems emotionally unavailable and physically distant, and you have absolutely no idea what shifted or what you did wrong. No, it is not because she has lost interest in you. No, it is not because she has stopped finding you attractive. And no, it is not because she is being difficult or playing games with your emotions. So let us start right at the very core of it. Because if you do not understand what you are biologically dealing with when it comes to your woman, you are going to spend years misreading her signals, making it personal when it is not, and damaging a connection that could have been extraordinary. Here's the truth that most men have simply never been taught. Women operate on a completely different hormonal reality than you do. And I do not mean slightly different. I mean entirely, fundamentally, and profoundly different. And once you genuinely understand this, I mean understand it at a deep level and not just intellectually, you will stop taking it personally. You will stop making it about your ego. You will stop interpreting her withdrawal as rejection and her desire as a green light you can rely on indefinitely. And you will start showing up in a way that actually works for both of you. My name is Dr. Julia Rodas. I am a men's sex therapist with over a decade of experience working with different couples and helping men regain their sexual health and strength back. If this is your first time here, I need you to do something right now before we go any further. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Every single week, I bring you content that is designed specifically to help men like you show up stronger in your relationships, in your bedroom, and in every area of your life. This is not surface level stuff. This is real, clinically grounded, experience-backed knowledge that most men never get access to. So make sure you are here for every single drop. Now let us get into it. The hormonal reality of a woman. Let us start with the absolute foundation because this is understanding female hormones 101 and you need the groundwork before anything else makes sense. Women are cyclical creatures. Their bodies run on a hormonal cycle that repeats roughly every 28 days, give or take a few days depending on the individual. And within that cycle, virtually everything shifts. Her energy levels, her emotional state, her mood, her appetite, her confidence, her creativity, her sensitivity, and absolutely without question, her sex drive. The four primary hormones driving this entire cycle are estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing hormone, and follicle-stimulating hormone. But the two that you as her partner need to understand most deeply are estrogen and progesterone. Because these two hormones are the primary architects of whether your woman feels like the most alive, magnetic, and desirous version of herself, or whether she feels completely depleted, emotionally raw, physically exhausted, and deeply in need of something entirely different from you than what you may be offering. Here is something that is critically, fundamentally important, and I need you to hear this clearly. These hormonal shifts are not choices. Your woman does not wake up on a random Tuesday and decide, you know what? I think I will be withdrawn and completely uninterested in my man today. No. Her body is literally running a complex biological program that has been active since she hit puberty. She does not get to opt out of it. She does not get to pause it because it is inconvenient for the relationship. It is happening inside her on a continuous basis, whether she likes it or not, and whether you understand it or not. Now, compare that to your experience as a man. Your testosterone levels follow a relatively consistent and broadly predictable daily pattern. Yes, they fluctuate with stress, with quality of sleep, and with other lifestyle factors. But broadly speaking, you wake up every single morning operating from the same general hormonal baseline. Your sex drive does not take a week off. Your energy does not suddenly drop because your body is biologically preparing for a new hormonal phase. You do not move through 4 dramatically different emotional and physical landscapes every single month. Your woman does. Every single month for the majority of her adult life. And so when you begin to understand that what feels like inconsistency or unpredictability from her is actually an extraordinarily complex and deeply intelligent biological system doing precisely what it was designed to do, you stop fighting it and you start working with it, because that is what a real partner does. The 4 phases and what they actually mean for you. Let me break this down practically, because this is where it becomes genuinely transformative for how you show up. Phase 1, the menstrual phase. This is the beginning of her cycle when she is having her period. During this time, both estrogen and progesterone are at their absolute lowest. Her body is doing real demanding physical work. She is losing blood. She may be dealing with cramps, lower back pain, intense fatigue, bloating, and emotional sensitivity that is heightened far beyond what you typically see from her. This is not the time to push for physical intimacy. This is the time to be present, warm, and genuinely supportive without any agenda whatsoever. This is the time to be her safe harbor. Bring her something warm to drink. Ask her what she needs and actually listen to the answer. Hold her with no expectation of it leading anywhere. Do you understand what that kind of consistent agendary presence does for a woman? It builds trust. It builds deep emotional security. And trust and security, gentlemen, are the 2 fundamental prerequisites that allow a woman to feel safe enough to open up to you fully, both emotionally and physically, in the phases that follow. You are not doing nothing during this phase. You are laying the most important groundwork of your entire relationship. Phase 2, the follicular phase. This is where things begin to shift and brighten. Estrogen starts to rise, and with it, your woman's energy begins to climb. Her mood lightens, her confidence returns, and her openness to connection and engagement grows noticeably. She starts to feel more like herself again. She may become more talkative, more playful, more creative, and more emotionally available. She is also beginning to feel the first genuine stirrings of desire. This is an excellent phase for connection. Plan a date, have real conversations, laugh together, be playful and affectionate without pressure. She is warming up. Your job is to meet her there and enjoy the rebuilding of warmth between you. Now, before I proceed, I want to pause for just a moment, because if what I've shared so far is already starting to connect dots for you, if you're beginning to understand why certain experiences in the bedroom have played out the way they have, I want you to know that there is a complete guide available that takes, quote, everything I teach on this channel and builds it into a single structured roadmap. The complete guide pieces the entire puzzle of men's sexual health together. From fixing erection and performance issues at the foundation to the specific techniques that make a man genuinely exceptional in bed after 60, to how to bring your partner to the same level of desire and engagement as you, so that the connection between you is firing on every cylinder, not just some of them. It is not a collection of tips. It is a handheld beginning-to-end journey through everything a man over 60 needs to know to perform with confidence, connect with depth, and enjoy his sex life the way he deserves to. I made a full video walking through exactly what the program covers and who it is for. The link is pinned in the comment section and sitting in the video description right now. Go and watch it after this video. I think it is going to land with you in a significant way. Now, let's continue. Phase 3, the ovulatory phase. Gentlemen, pay close attention here, because this is the phase where your woman's desire peaks most naturally. During ovulation, estrogen surges to its highest point and her body is biologically primed for deep connection. This is the phase when her desire is strongest, when she may initiate more frequently, when she is more physically affectionate, more openly flirtatious, and more fully and authentically desirous of you as her man. If you have been showing up consistently throughout the earlier phases, being present, emotionally available, attentive to her needs, and genuinely connected, this is when she is most likely to want you deeply, not just physically, but in every sense. Do not squander this phase by having been emotionally absent throughout the rest of the month and then suddenly expecting her to be completely open just because the calendar aligns with your desires. Phase 4, the luteal phase. This is the phase that confuses men the most, and it is honestly the phase that damages the most relationships when it is not understood. After ovulation, progesterone rises sharply in preparation for the potential of pregnancy. If pregnancy does not occur, both estrogen and progesterone drop significantly toward the end of this phase. And it is precisely that drop that produces what we commonly refer to as PMS, premenstrual syndrome. During the luteal phase, your woman may feel more tired than usual, more emotionally sensitive, more easily overwhelmed, more inward focused, and less interested in physical intimacy. Her sex drive is likely at its lowest point. She may need more space, more reassurance, more emotional support, and significantly less pressure. She is not punishing you. She is not testing you. She is not withdrawing because something is wrong with your relationship. Her body is in a fundamentally different biological state, and what she needs from you during this time is not the same as what she needs during ovulation. If you can show up for her here with patience, genuine warmth, and zero pressure or expectation, you will be building more real intimacy and lasting trust than any single act of sex could ever create on its own. The role of oxytocin and why emotional connection is not optional. This next part is absolutely crucial, and it is the piece that most fundamentally separates female sexual desire from male sexual desire. For most men, desire begins primarily as a physical experience. You see her, you want her, and your body responds relatively quickly. The emotional component absolutely matters, but it is not always the prerequisite for physical desire. Many men can separate the emotional and the physical to some degree. You can want sex even when things are somewhat emotionally tense between you. You might even crave it more during stress or frustration, using it as a form of release and reconnection. For most women, the experience is almost entirely the opposite. Female sexual desire is deeply, profoundly, and in many cases, inseparably connected to emotional safety and genuine connection. The hormone oxytocin, often referred to as the bonding hormone or the love hormone, plays an enormous role in female sexuality that cannot be overstated. Oxytocin is released through meaningful touch, through real conversation, through sustained eye contact, through the feeling of being truly seen, heard, and understood by someone you trust. And here is what you absolutely must understand. Most women need to feel a meaningful level of oxytocin, a genuine sense of emotional closeness and safety before their bodies open up to physical desire. They do not and generally cannot separate the emotional and the physical the way many men do. This means that if your woman feels emotionally disconnected from you, if she has been feeling like you are checked out, distracted, dismissive, or genuinely unavailable emotionally, her body is not going to want you in the same way. Regardless of how physically attracted she is to you, and regardless of how much she loves you, that emotional disconnection is a very real biological barrier to her desire. It is not manipulation. It is not a power move. It is simply how her body works. So when your woman tells you she needs to feel connected before she can feel sexual, she is not being complicated or unreasonable. She is giving you the clearest possible instruction manual for how to reach her. And the men who hear that, who genuinely understand it and lean into building emotional intimacy as a consistent practice, are the men whose women want them passionately and authentically. Not out of obligation, not out of duty, not to keep the peace, but out of genuine, raw, real desire. What happens when men do not understand this? I want to walk you through some real scenarios now, because this is where it becomes deeply personal. In my practice over the years, I have worked with countless couples, men who came to me frustrated, confused, and emotionally defeated because their partner had seemingly lost all interest in being intimate with them. And in nearly every single case, when I dug beneath the surface, the pattern was strikingly consistent. The man had been showing up physically, but had stopped showing up emotionally. He had been providing, working hard, coming home, doing the practical things, but the genuine emotional connection had quietly eroded. No real conversations, no authentic curiosity about her inner life, no affectionate touch that did not carry the weight of expectation. And slowly, over weeks and months, she had emotionally withdrawn. Not to punish him, not because she stopped loving him, but because her nervous system was no longer receiving the signals of safety, warmth, and genuine presence that her body requires as the foundation for desire. And then he would reach for her at night, expecting her to be available, and she would be closed off. And he would take it personally. He would pull back, get visibly frustrated, or worse, make a comment that made her feel like her hormonal reality or her emotional needs were a problem he had to manage, and that created more disconnection. And the cycle deepened and hardened over time. Let me tell you about a man I worked with. I will call him David. David was a genuinely good man, loyal, hardworking, completely devoted to his family, but he could not understand why his wife no longer seemed to desire him. He told me it feels like I am begging for my own wife, like intimacy is something she tolerates rather than wants. When I spoke with his wife separately, she said something that I have heard from so many women in my years of practice. She said, "I do not feel like he actually sees me anymore. He talks to me about logistics, the children, the bills, what needs to happen next week. But he never just sits with me. He never asks how I am really doing. He does not hold me without wanting something from it. I feel invisible in my own relationship. I love him deeply, but I feel completely alone, and I cannot desire someone who makes me feel invisible." Do you understand what she was communicating? She was not describing a woman who had lost interest. She was describing a woman whose fundamental emotional and biological prerequisites for desire had stopped being consistently met. And the moment David truly understood this, the moment he began showing up differently, asking genuine questions, being present without an agenda, holding her without it needing to lead anywhere, everything shifted. Within weeks, his wife was initiating again, not because he had pushed or pressured her into it, but because she finally felt safe and truly seen, and her body naturally responded to that. That is the enormous and life-changing power of understanding your woman's hormonal and emotional reality. The cortisol factor, how stress kills her desire. There is one more dimension of this that I need you to understand, and it is absolutely critical. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is one of the single most powerful suppressors of female sexual desire. And the reason for that is entirely biological. When a woman's cortisol is consistently elevated, when she is stressed, overwhelmed, emotionally exhausted, or feeling unsupported, her body registers this as a state of threat. And in a state of perceived threat, her biological system does not prioritize reproduction or intimate connection. Her body enters a form of survival mode. Her hormones literally suppress desire as a protective biological mechanism. So if your woman is carrying enormous stress from her career, from parenting, from financial pressure, from family dynamics, from any of the countless demands that modern women navigate every day, her desire is going to be profoundly affected by that, not as a choice, not as a statement about you, as chemistry. And what this means for you as her man is something truly profound. One of the most powerfully intimate things you can do for your physical relationship with your woman is to genuinely and consistently help reduce her stress. Help with the children without needing to be asked. Take things off her plate before she has to carry them. Create a home environment that feels calm, ordered, and emotionally safe. Be her soft place to land at the end of a hard day. Because when a woman feels truly supported and not alone in carrying the weight of life, her cortisol drops. When her cortisol drops, her body relaxes. When her body relaxes, her desire naturally begins to return. Not as a transaction, not as a reward for your effort, but because the biological conditions for her desire have been genuinely restored. That is love in action. That is what it actually means to know your woman. Practical steps for men. Take notes. Now that you have the foundation, here is something real, actionable, and immediately applicable. Take notes on this one. Learn her cycle and take it seriously. Get genuinely familiar with where she is at any given point in her monthly cycle. Not to manipulate the timing for your own benefit, but to understand her needs and meet her where she actually is. When she is in her luteal phase and feeling depleted, that is not the moment to be pushing for intimacy. That is the moment to show up as her grounding, supportive partner. When she is in her follicular or ovulatory phase and her energy and desire are rising, be fully present for that beautiful window of connection. Understanding her cycle is one of the most meaningful things you can do as a partner. 2, prioritize emotional intimacy every single day, not just when you want something, every single day. Ask her real questions and actually listen to the answers. Put the phone down and make meaningful eye contact. Sit with her without an agenda. Make her feel like the most important and interesting person in your world. For her, that consistent daily emotional connection is the soil in which desire grows. You cannot neglect that soil for weeks and then expect her to bloom on command. 3, touch her without it needing to go anywhere. This one is enormous and chronically underestimated. Hold her hand, rub her shoulders, pull her close on the couch with nothing expected in return. Embrace her when she walks through the door. Touch her in ways that communicate pure warmth, affection, and genuine desire without any pressure, without any agenda, without any expectation. When a woman feels touched with complete warmth and zero obligation attached to it, oxytocin rises. She feels safe. She feels genuinely desired in a way that does not feel threatening, and her body begins to open naturally. But when every touch she receives carries the unspoken weight of expectation, she begins to tense and pull back. She cannot fully relax into your touch when she is already bracing for the ask that follows. 4. Be consistently present, not just strategically present. Relationships are built and sustained in the ordinary, unremarkable moments, not in grand gestures. The morning you made her coffee without being asked, the evening you handled the children so she could genuinely rest, the moment you noticed she was overwhelmed and simply pulled her close without a single word. These moments are not separate from your intimate life. These moments are your intimate life, because for a woman, desire is not built in isolated encounters. It is built across the full daily experience of how you show up for her. 5. Receive her no with grace and strength. There will be times when her answer is no. That is a reality, and it is okay. But the way you receive that no is going to communicate more about your character and your love for her than almost anything else you do. If you sulk, get frustrated, withdraw, or make her feel guilty for having a body with its own rhythms and needs, you are teaching her that your desire matters more than her safety and comfort, and that will close her off far more and far longer than the original no ever would have. Receive her no with genuine grace. Let her feel that your love for her is not conditional on what her body gives you. That level of emotional security is profoundly attractive in a man. It will do more for your intimate life than any technique or tactic ever could. 6. Have the real, honest conversation. Not in the heat of an argument, not late at night when the tension is already thick and everyone is exhausted. In a genuinely calm and connected moment, sit down and talk honestly. Tell her how you have been feeling without it landing as an accusation. Ask her what she needs in order to feel most connected and most desired. Tell her what you need too with the same openness and vulnerability. Build a bridge between you. Because two people sitting on opposite sides of a wall, silently wondering where things went wrong and why nobody is reaching for the other, are never going to find their way back without the courage of a real, honest conversation. Talk to your woman, man. Real communication is not weakness. It is one of the most powerful forms of masculine leadership available to you. A word about desire and masculine energy. Before I close today, there is something I feel deeply and need to say clearly. Understanding your woman's hormonal reality does not mean suppressing your own desire. It does not mean pretending you have no needs or walking on eggshells through your own relationship or becoming passive and needless. Absolutely not. A woman who feels genuinely safe, emotionally connected, and truly seen by her man does not want a passive, drained, utterly needless partner. She wants a man who is fully alive, completely present, and grounded in his masculine energy. A man who desires her deeply, honestly, and without shame. A man who can hold the emotional space of the relationship with both strength and warmth simultaneously. She wants to feel your desire, your presence, your grounded confidence, and your protection. But here is the essential key. That desire must come from a place that makes her feel chosen and genuinely cherished, not pressured, not obligated, and not like a need that simply needs managing. There is an enormous and palpable difference between a man who reaches for his woman from a place of authentic presence and love and a man who reaches for her as though she is a service to be accessed. Women feel that difference immediately and completely. And the man who approaches his woman from genuine love, emotional availability, and a grounded masculine presence is the man whose woman moves toward him again and again with authentic and lasting desire. That is what you are building toward. That is the relationship worth every ounce of effort. My name is Dr. Julia Rodas. I will see you in the next